Hey y'all, we about to react to the last 24
February
hours
22nd,
of
2026, 4 a.m. The mountains of southern Jalisco, Mexico. Somewhere in the dark, in a compound carved into the Sierra, the most wanted lord alive is sleeping. Two governments have been hunting him for over a decade. The DEA has a $15 million bounty on his head, one of the largest in the history of American law enforcement.
That's crazy, bro.
Interpol knows his name. The CIA has drones in the sky above his country. And still, for years, this man has been a ghost.
It's crazy.
Fewer than 3 confirmed photographs of him exist, all of them decades old. In every intelligence briefing, every wanted poster, every classified...
Bro, I didn't know all of this, though. Only 3 confirmed photographs exist of this
file.
nigga.
The same grainy image of a man nobody can find. His name is Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes. The world knows him as El Mencho.
Well, my question is, if you could do all that ducking and dodging, then how the f find out you was the one running this anyway?
By sunrise, he will be wounded and bleeding in a military aircraft, dying somewhere above the Mexican highlands. By nightfall, 6 states will be on fire. This is his last 24 hours.
What the hell they do? What they do? Send a public service announcement?
1966, a village buried deep in the mountains of Michoacan, Mexico. No electricity, no paved roads. Place so remote, most maps don't bother naming it.
That's crazy.
That's where Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes was born on the 17th of July. He never made it past the 5th grade. By the time other kids were learning to read, he was in the fields, picking avocados under the Michoacan sun, one of 6 brothers in a family that had nothing. This was Tierra Caliente, the hot land, a region where the 2 things that grow best are avocados and organized crime. He left before he was 20, crossed the border illegally into California. No papers, no plan, just hunger.
Just hunger.
1986,
trying to make a way. You heavy?
San Francisco. A teenager gets picked up by police. Stolen property, a loaded firearm. The booking photo shows a kid who looks barely old enough to shave.
That's
not
crazy,
a kingpin,
bro.
not a threat, just another undocumented migrant caught in the wrong place.
That's
they
crazy.
deported him. He came back. 1989, arrested again, narcotics this time. Deported again. He came back again. By September of 1992, he was 26 years old and moving low-level heroin in the Bay Area with his older brother Abraham.
So he been doing this shit since he was 15?
The 2 brothers walked into the Imperial Bar on San Francisco's rough edge of the Tenderloin to close a deal. 5 ounces of heroin, $9,500. The buyers paid in clean bills. 2 clean, 2 neat, stacked perfectly the way real street money never is. Nemesio noticed. He told Abraham, "These men are cops. Walk away." He was right. It was already too late.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, federal agents arrested both brothers on trafficking charges. In court,
and little, hold on, I thought I got that booger of sugar for you. That's what don't he look like one of them?
Agents arrested both brothers on trafficking charges. In court, Nemesio made the choice that would define everything that followed. Abraham already carried 2 felony convictions. A third would likely mean life. So Nemesio pleaded guilty, took the weight, protected his brother.
That's crazy.
He told the court by all accounts to give him the minimum. She gave him 5 years. He served 3 at Big Spring Correctional Center in West Texas.
See, I would have never known this.
A federal prison built to house undocumented immigrants. 1997, deported back to Mexico, 31 years old, convicted felon, banned from the United States for life. Most men in that position disappear into the margins. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes did something nobody saw coming. He became a cop. Joined the local police force in Cabo
Corrientes. That nigga had a plan. He sat in that prison cell. He said, okay. I know what's going on here. Hold on, y'all. This is my clothing brand. I need y'all to go support your boy, okay? And supporting your boy with some pretty cheap clothing, all right? And you're gonna be fly and fresh as hell, man. All right, link in the description. They.us. Go shop. Motherfuckers think they can take me out of the game? Okay. I'm gonna go back to my country. When I get back to my country, Espanol in Mexico. When I get back to my country, I'm going to become a cop. What do you mean, Mencho? You're gonna become a cop? What the fuck? Yeah, I'm gonna become a cop because I'm gonna learn all of this stuff about the criminals from behind the scenes. And as soon as I have enough information, I'm going to be the biggest leader in the world. And then I'm gonna be bigger than El Chapo.
And Tomatland, Jalisco, wore the uniform, carried the badge. DEA Special Agent Kyle Morey, who would later lead the American investigation from Los Angeles, understood exactly what that period meant. Mencho wasn't rehabilitating. He was studying, learning how law enforcement thought, how it moved, how it could be bought. Every shift was intelligence. He left the force, joined the Millennial Cartel as a sicario.
That's crazy.
When Sinaloa Capo Nacho Coronel was killed in 2010 and Millennial leader Oscar Valencia was arrested, the structure fractured. El Mencho didn't fracture with it. He declared war on Sinaloa and partnered with his wife's family, the Gonzalez Valencia money laundering network, and built something entirely new from the wreckage. He called it the Jalisco New Generation Cartel.
CJNG.
CJNG. Within a decade, it had presence in all 50 American states and more than 40 countries.
Crazy. 40 fucking
By 2019, the DEA assessed El Mencho's cartel was moving at least 1/3 of all drugs entering the United States. His personal net worth, at minimum $500 million, potentially over $1 billion.
That's crazy, gang.
The Mexican government estimated CJ...
Like, gang, this is my question to all these cartels. How in the living fuck do you make $1 billion off selling and keep selling drugs? I don't understand that shit. If I could figure out a way to make $1 billion selling drugs, I feel like I could figure out a way to make $1 billion doing anything. This could have went to Mars if he wanted to. You hear what I'm trying to tell you, gang? He could have, with this determination and smartness and all this shit he had to do this illegally. You know how many tricks and how smart you got to be to not get caught and do this shit illegally and have connections and all that, bro. He could be and he would still be alive if he would have did that. He could have been a businessman any way he wanted to, gang. Because one thing about drug dealers that I learned at the growing up how I grew up and then being a businessman now is like you learn about imports, you learn about exports, you learn about security, right? You learn about connections and relationships with people. You feel me? You know how to you are a very good people person. You know how to make deals. You understand wholesale. You understand every single aspect of business, bro.
NG's total assets at $50 billion.
That's crazy, bro.
In February 2025, the Trump administration designated it a foreign terrorist organization. The avocado picker from Michoacan had built a narco empire that outranked most countries' economies, and nobody could find him.
Nobody can find you? Like, what the hell, bro?
El Chapo wanted to be a legend. He gave interviews to Sean Penn in the jungle. He had corridos written about him. He wore his name like a crown.
Right.
El Mencho wanted to be invisible. No interviews, no photographs, no public appearances.
Nothing.
In over a decade as the most wanted man in the Western Hemisphere, fewer than 3 confirmed images of him exist. All of them old, all of them grainy. The only time the public ever heard his voice was through leaked audio recordings, expletive-filled messages sent to rivals, threats delivered from a face nobody could see. Organized crime expert Edgardo Buscaglia of Columbia University put it plainly. El Mencho's Jalisco New Generation Cartel was one of the biggest buyers of politicians and political campaigns, which has given it an enormous social base.
Right.
Power without visibility. That was the strategy. He moved constantly through the Sierras of Jalisco, Michoacan, Colima, and Nayarit, never sleeping in the same location for long. Around him, 2 rings of security, an inner circle of former military mercenaries, an outer ring of lookouts spread across the mountain roads, watching for anything that moved. For years, it worked.
Crazy, bro.
Then came the violence that made hiding harder. May 2015, Mexican Army forces launched a military operation in Jalisco.
It's like, how the hell
Mencho's men responded by firing a rocket-propelled grenade at an Army helicopter,
man, come on, bro.
blowing it out of the sky.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. This nigga's playing GTA, bro. He got security officers blowing helicopters out the sky with bazookas and rocket launchers.
Call the popo.
What the f?
Bought himself time to disappear into the Sierra. In a single 6-week stretch that same year,
Bro.
CJNG 24 police officers across western Mexico, not as a battle, as a message. 5 years later,
crazy,
he sent
man.
a bigger one. June 26, 2020, 7 a.m. Mexico City. On Reforma Avenue, one of the most famous boulevards in Latin America, a convoy of CJNG gunmen ambushed Mexico City Police Chief Omar Garcia Harfuch. Grenades, high-powered rifles. Harfuch took 3 bullets, 2 bodyguards, and a...
They killed the police chief? Oh, these was crazy.
Civilian bystander were killed. He survived.
He
From
survived.
his hospital bed, still
thank
bloody,
God. How the hell
Harfuch
he do
posted
that?
on Twitter and named CJNG directly. He recovered. He didn't forget. By 2026, Omar Garcia
that's him?
Harfuch was Mexico's Secretary of Security.
Oh, he
The man
cold
El
with
Mencho
it.
tried to kill was now the man coordinating the operation to kill him.
I'm going to
When
put up a
news broke
fight.
that El was dead, Harfuch posted a single line on X: "Our recognition to the Mexican Army and Air Force. No speech, no triumph, just 4 words. 6 years of waiting compressed into 1 sentence." While El Mencho was making enemies, his body was betraying him. As early as 2019, Mexican intelligence had confirmed he was suffering from serious kidney failure. Kidney disease doesn't care how many soldiers you command.
Yeah, no.
It demands treatment, dialysis,
Right.
medication, constant monitoring. In the mountains, that's not easy to manage quietly. His solution was to build a private hospital deep inside CJNG controlled territory
That nigga
in the
built a
remote village
private
of El
hospital,
Alcihuatl in the municipality of Villa Purificacion, roughly 50 kilometers from the nearest town. He constructed a medical facility for his personal use.
That's crazy, bro.
As recently as February 2025, Mexico's security secretary publicly confirmed the kidney disease was ongoing. Here is the question that investigators would have been asking. Kidney treatment creates a schedule. A schedule creates patterns. Patterns can be tracked. Whether that is how they ultimately found him has never been officially confirmed, but it is the thread that intelligence agencies were pulling. By 2022, Insight Crime reported he hadn't been seen in years. Splinter factions were claiming he was already dead.
This is a crazy video. I don't even got really much to say. I'm just sitting here like, no, this is crazy.
It was fracturing at
they
the
gonna
edges.
make a movie out of this.
Then,
For
in
sure.
the 15 months before his death, his family disappeared one by one. November 2024, his son-in-law, El Gaucho, arrested in Riverside, California, a man El Mencho had personally helped fake his own to protect.
No.
February 27th,
That's
2025,
crazy.
his brother Antonio, known as El Tony Montana, extradited to the United States. 1 day later, February 28th, his brother Abraham Don Rodo was recaptured by the Mexican Army. The same Abraham he had gone to federal prison to protect in 1992. March 2025, his son El Menchito, sentenced to life plus 30 years in U.S. federal court, ordered to forfeit over $6 billion.
What the fuck?
February 2025, his wife Rosalinda released from Mexican prison,
6
and
billion?
immediately placed under surveillance every
Hold
person
on, pause,
who knew
bro,
his location.
Pause, bro. We can't just skate over that like he ain't just say what I think he just heard. He just said $6 billion. Just give me 10 million. I'd have been out the game at 10 million. You is crazy, man.
Every person who held his money, every person who could find him in the mountains, arrested, extradited, or watched.
Right.
By February 2026, he was the last one standing, and he was sick, and he was alone. December 2024. The United States Department of State quietly raised the reward for information, leading to El Mencho's capture from $10 million to $15 million. It was the largest narco bounty in active circulation.
That's crazy, bro.
Somewhere in the mountains of Jalisco, the price on his head had just
I wonder what El Chapo's was.
Gone up 50%. Nobody came forward. Not yet. January 2026. Washington announced the formal launch of the Joint Interagency Task Force Counter Cartel, a U.S. military-led intelligence unit with a single operational mandate: map cartel networks on both sides of the border and dismantle their leadership. El Mencho sat at the very top of their target list. What was happening in the background was more significant than any press release. According to Reuters, the CIA had been conducting secret drone flights over Mexican territory, feeding real-time intelligence on cartel movements to Mexican forces.
How the fuck are
A
they
former
doing that?
U.S. official told Reuters that the United States had compiled what intelligence agencies call a target package for El Mencho, a dossier combining law enforcement intelligence, signals intelligence, and human intelligence, and handed it directly to the Mexican government. This wasn't cooperation. This was a coordinated hunt. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum was caught in a bind she couldn't escape. Throughout her political career, she had publicly criticized the kingpin strategy, the doctrine of targeting and eliminating cartel bosses. Her argument was straightforward and backed by history. Decapitation doesn't kill a cartel, it fractures it.
Yes.
And a fractured cartel produces more violence, not less.
Yeah.
She had said this publicly, repeatedly, but the Trump administration was applying pressure.
See, that's why it's like I understand it, but then I don't understand it, because I get what she's saying. Like, she basically saying, okay, y'all not finna stop the cartel. All you gonna do is kill this nigga. Somebody else gonna take over, and then it's gonna be a whole bunch of violence behind it. They gonna get crazy. They gonna get desperate. They gonna start going broke. Like, and then like it's never gonna stop, gang. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because you tarnish they leader, you got to do more than that, bro. You can't. Like, I ain't saying it's impossible to stop, but you can't just go. What you gonna just every cartel leader and then it's gonna be another leader, bro? What the These people still want money. You know how much money is it? They just said one person, his son, gave him $6 billion. Billion with a B. What the
that Mexico could
Elon
not
Musk
easily
they can't give
absorb.
you $6 billion.
Tariff threats, military posturing, diplomatic ultimatums. El Mencho had become political currency, the trophy that would prove Mexico was serious about its side of the border. The trap was set, and the operation moved forward. Now, Tapalpa. If you look at Tapalpa on a map, it reads like a postcard. A small colonial mountain town 2 hours southwest of Guadalajara. White stone churches, pine forests, cobblestone streets, a weekend escape for wealthy tapatillos, the kind of place tourists photograph and cartels launder money through quietly. That last part is documented. In September 2015, nearly a decade before the operation, the U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctioned specific CJNG businesses operating in Tapalpa.
10 years?
Among them, a rental cabin operation identified as a front for cartel money. El Mencho's organization had roots in that town for 10 years. He wasn't hiding there randomly. He was hiding there because he had always been there. By the evening of February 21st, 2026, Mexican Army Special Forces had confirmed intelligence placing El Mencho in the Tapalpa area. The operation was authorized at the highest levels of both governments. Soldiers were moving into position before midnight. Here is what we don't know and what may never be confirmed. We don't know how they found him. Was it a human informant? Someone who decided $15 million was worth more than loyalty to a dying boss? Was it signals intelligence, a phone, a radio, a pattern of communications that broke his cover? Was it the medical treatment? Dialysis doesn't happen in the dark. Equipment moves, people talk. Was it someone from his inner circle? Someone arrested, someone pressured, someone who chose survival over silence? The Mexican Ministry of Defense has not said. The CIA has not said. Nobody has said. What we know is this. The objective, on the record, from the official statement of Mexico's Ministry of Defense, was to capture him alive. They planned to take him breathing. That is not what happened.
I ain't gonna lie to you. It really ain't no different. If they would have locked him up, the same thing would have happened. Them cartels would have been tweaking just the same. That wasn't gonna change, nah.
Sunday, February 22nd, 2026, before sunrise, Tapalpa, Jalisco, Mexican Army Special Forces moved in from multiple positions simultaneously. National Guard units held the perimeter. Mexican Air Force assets were overhead. Intelligence personnel from the Attorney General's office were embedded in the operation. This was not a raid improvised in the field. This was months of preparation, converging on a single point in the dark. The moment troops breached the compound, CJNG fighters opened fire. What followed was a sustained firefight in the Sierra.
That's what I thought.
4 CJNG operatives were killed at the scene. 2 were arrested. 3 others were gravely wounded. Among them, the man the operation had been built to find. When the shooting stopped, soldiers moved through the compound. Armored vehicles, rocket launchers capable of bringing down aircraft, heavy arms stockpiled in the mountains like a small army's arsenal.
Crazy.
And in the wreckage of the firefight, wounded and in custody, Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, finally in the hands of the Mexican state. 3 members of the Mexican armed forces were wounded in the exchange. Standard protocol for a capture of this magnitude meant one thing: transfer immediately to Mexico City. A military aircraft was prepared. El Mencho, wounded, bleeding, was loaded aboard. The plan was federal custody, interrogation, the full weight of the Mexican justice system. He never arrived. Somewhere above the mountains of Jalisco, en route to the capital, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes died from his wounds. The man who had spent over a decade evading every government on earth died in the air, in the custody of the army he had spent years humiliating. The man who shot down a military helicopter with a rocket-propelled grenade to escape the Mexican army in 2015 was transported by the Mexican army's own aircraft.
That's some crazy
He didn't make it off the plane. In Mexico City, Omar Garcia Harfut, the man CJNG had shot 3 times on Reforma Avenue in 2020, opened his phone and posted 4 words on X. Our recognition to the Mexican Army and Air Force. No speech, no press conference, no photograph. Just 4 words from the man who had waited 6 years for this day.
We got him.
Then Mexico started burning. Within hours, CJNG unleashed coordinated violence across 6 states. 21 highway blockades ignited across Jalisco alone by 3 in the afternoon.
By 3 p.m.
Vehicles set ablaze across Jalisco, Michoacan, Colima, Tamaulipas, Guanajuato, and Aguascalientes. Governor Pablo Lemus Navarro activated a code red state of emergency. Public transport suspended, schools canceled, civilians ordered to stay home. Guadalajara went silent. A city of 5 million people scheduled to host FIFA World Cup matches in June 2026 became a ghost town in an afternoon. Then gunmen entered the international airport, Travelers abandoned their luggage and ran through the terminals. Delta, Alaska, American Airlines, Southwest, and Air Canada canceled all flights to Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. A prison riot broke out in Puerto Vallarta. A jail guard was killed.
Prison riot.
The U.S. State Department issued a shelter-in-place advisory for American citizens in Jalisco, Tamaulipas, Michoacán, Guerrero, and Nuevo León. From Washington, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt confirmed that U.S. intelligence had provided support to the Mexican government. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau called El Mencho one of the bloodiest and most ruthless in history, then added, "The good guys are stronger than the bad guys." In Guadalajara, the streets were empty and the fires were still burning.
The question that outlives him.
Claudia Sheinbaum had been saying it for years. The kingpin strategy doesn't work. Cutting off the head of a cartel doesn't kill the body.
It don't.
It multiplies it.
Yeah.
You remove one leader and three more emerge from the wreckage, each more ruthless than the last, each fighting to claim the territory left behind. She said it before she took office. She said it after. She built her security philosophy around the idea that chasing individual names was theater, not policy.
Yeah.
On February 22nd, 2026, under sustained pressure from the Trump administration to produce visible results on drug trafficking, President Claudia Sheinbaum authorized the operation that produced the biggest kingpin in the history of the Western Hemisphere.
She still authorized it.
Her public statement that day was careful. She applauded the military. She called for calm. She emphasized that the rest of the country was functioning normally. She did not call it an assassination. The official position was precise. It was a capture operation that turned fatal.
But yeah, she signed off on it, but she ain't signed off to kill him though. So yeah, I feel it.
A legal, procedural distinction that mattered enormously to her government. By midnight, every news channel in the world was broadcasting footage of burning highways, empty airport terminals, and a ghost city that was supposed to host the FIFA World Cup in 4 months. The president who said cartel leaders was wrong had just overseen the killing of the biggest cartel leader alive. And she was watching her own warning come true in real time on every screen in the country before the night was over.
Okay.
The question that follows is the one nobody can answer yet. What happens to CJNG? Analysts broadly...
That shit ain't gonna... I'm gonna tell you what happened. You know, we don't need to finish the video. I'm gonna tell you what happened. It's gonna break up into different factions like it always do. You feel me? The head of the snake is gonna be 3, 5, 6 more people that want to do their own thing, that's been learning all this shit for all this long, and now they want to go start their own cartel and do their own, you dig, folks. Some soldiers gonna go that way, 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 and it's gonna be, like she said, it's gonna be 5 more cartels pop out the new work. It's gonna be hella war. Because you gotta think, now people want to be new leaders, they gotta fight for territory, they gotta fight for drug farms, they gotta fight for, you know?